Hi, this is Joe Chambers. Welcome to Musicians Hall of Fame Backstage, the Vault Series. Today's clip is pertinent to what's going on in our country right now. It's a little different than what we normally do, but I hope you enjoy it.
What happened to Memphis music? There was two events that were seminal in that course of events. One was the murder of Dr. Martin Luther King. Andrew and I were in the studio at Sun when the day that happened, and they told us what had happened, and there was no conversation. We just packed our stuff and went home. He loaded his gun and I loaded mine. Sat in my living room all night, just like he did, to protect our families, because it was a pretty traumatic event. The feeling in the city changed. People began to be suspicious, or began to be mistrustful of each other, sort of. One night I went to see Andrew at Bowlegs Miller's Club in Memphis, and I used to go there every week and sit in and play. It's a black club. I might be the only white guy there. Nobody ever thought anything about it. We had a good time. I'm a great trumpet player, and they liked to hear me play. Bowlegs was a trumpet player. We got off on each other's playing, stuff like that. But one night, after all that happened, I went there. And the guy had had too much to drink, a black fella, and he pulled a knife out on me and backed me up against the wall and scared us all to death. And the black DJ walked by and grabbed the guy and said, "Hey, you let this fellow alone." But then he got me and said, "Come with me, Wayne." We went out and got in my car, and he stood there. He said, "I don't think you need to come back here because it's not worth it." So that was the mood. The mood turned kind of ugly in the street at night, and it was because of those things, and that changed how the music flowed, so to speak. Andrew and I left too, and then Booker T left, and Steve and Duck followed him. Al Jackson was killed. Andrew and I formed the Memphis Orange and left the studio, and that was it.
How did you guys meet?
I heard Andrew playing with the Willie Mitchell Band in 1962 or 3, and the reason he came out of the band, there were 3 saxophone players on the band, and I was watching the people from the bar. I was watching people, and they were all dancing, having a good time. When Andrew played, they stopped dancing and turned around and looked to see who was playing. So I knew that he had something really special. And so when Packy Axton and Jim Stewart had a falling out, Packy was not going to be there anymore, we needed a saxophone player. And Al Jackson was working at High Records where Andrew was playing with Willie. He went over and got him, brought him over to Stax. And the first day that we played together, it was Katie bar the door, because it was a perfect match. His tone and my tone just went together perfectly. And we liked to laugh a lot together. And so we just grew as time went by. Our breathing and our phrasing and all just got perfect. We played these really little complicated maneuvers on the horns, and swear you couldn't hear but one horn. It was 2 of us playing. We just got that perfect together. Oh, man, he is a sweet guy. He's the nicest guy you ever met, and I'm a nice guy. And his daddy was a Baptist preacher at Mount Nebo Baptist Church for 50 years before he died. My dad sold insurance in Arkansas to the black community, and my dad liked gospel music. We'd go in the car with him, and he'd be on a gospel music station, WDIA in Memphis. Well, Andrew's daddy liked the Grand Ole Opry. On Saturday nights, they sat around and listened to Grand Ole Opry from Nashville, Tennessee. So our interests and our ears growing up, and he's actually 3 days older than I am, so that's how close we are in age. But our background influences were so weird that they kind of complemented each other. And I'm the kind of the corny white guy, and he's the hip, cool black guy, and he's tall and I'm short. I'm left-handed and he's right-handed, and he's darker. His skin much darker than mine, and so we're just very opposite and very much the same at the same time. Boy, we've had a good time traveling around the world together. We were playing on stages in Europe before packed houses. In those days, 2,000 people was a big house, and it was unbelievable. They were jumping up and down. They had to stop the show in Paris 2 times because they thought that the balconies were going to come off the Olympia Theater. And we were doing that to those people. It was the first time in my life, or Andrew's life, that we thought, we've done something, that we may be able to hang our hats on this one and be here a while. But we didn't figure it's going to be 40 years.
And that's a friendship that's endured 40 years.
Friendship has endured. We've raised 6 kids, and they went to college, and they had new cars, and they had nice homes, insurance, and everything that you do for your children. We did with these horns. It's been a wonderful friendship. My daughter would fight you over Andrew Love, and his kids call me Uncle Wayne. I remember looking around one time in Italy, in this town in Italy. We were out in the piazza drinking whatever we were drinking. It was in the evening, and it was really crowded, and I looked around and I said, Andrew, what does it feel like to be the only black guy in sight? There ain't another one of y'all here. And he said, it don't bother me. It didn't. It's been like that the whole time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wayne Jackson and Andrew Love, the Memphis Horns. Got it? Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, we waited a long time for that, and it was worth the wait. God bless you all. Listen, talk about a charmed life. I have had one, and it began when I met Steve Cropper, Duck Dunn, and we were in a little band called the Royal Spades. And Packy Axton was a tenor saxophone player, and his mother was the half owner of Stax Records along with her brother, Jim Stewart. It was actually called Satellite Records at that time. And we made a little record called Last Night and sold 1.5 million copies. And that was my first day in the music business. And it's gone downhill since then. The next great thing that happened to me was meeting Andrew Love. He'd been playing at High Records for Willie Mitchell. And when we played together the first day, we knew there was something special about us. Our tones together and the way we laughed and the way we enjoyed everything. And we hooked up and decided that we were going to be the marquee horns at Stax Records. And we were that for the next 8 years. We played on all those wonderful records. Just blessing after blessing. Otis Redding come to the door. Sam and Dave come to the door. You're going to see Eddie Floyd tonight. He came to the door. What a blessing he's been to all of us. And then when we left Stax and formed the Memphis Horns, we got a phone call from Stephen Stills. And the rock and roll door opened. Kind of dark in there. So we spent a couple of years with Stephen, and then Rod Stewart called. We spent a few years with him, and the Doobie Brothers called, and we spent 4 years with them. And, you know, all the times the kids are growing up, and the bank accounts are growing, and they all got educations and new cars, and me and Andrew didn't get none of that. We just stayed on the road and worked. It's been a fantastic 45 years since I met this gentleman. Talk about a blessing. And all of you are a part of our blessing. Tonight is so special. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our heart.